Mr. Trump, one of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
As we get closer and closer to November 2016, the controversy surrounding Donald Trump continues to gain steam. Supported by millions and disdained by perhaps even more, Mr. Trump has become the center of attention as of late. Seeing as such, I thought it fit to talk a little bit more about his business side rather than his more controversial political side. In the summer of 2015, I bought a copy of Donald Trump's 1987 book, The Art of the Deal, and I gave it an unbiased read. I found it to be a good perspective piece into the life of one of the richest and most successful people in America, if not the world. As such, I give to you 10 Trump cards that Donald talks about in the book. These are the words Donald Trump uses in his book, The Art of the Deal. It's a really succinct way of illustrating his perspective. For those of you that don't know, Donald made his fortune off of the real estate industry, which he got into with his dad at a young age. His dad's business primarily built low and middle income housing in Brooklyn and Queens, New York, with an emphasis on the low income. His father would never try to reach for anything outside of that realm. However, when Trump was on the site, he would always gravitate towards the best locations within the area. For example, when he was building in Queens, he wanted to build in Forest Hills, but as Trump grew older, he realized that Forest Hills was a great place, but it was certainly no Fifth Ave. Trump wasn't concerned with the money that came with the business, he was more so concerned with making a statement. Donald wanted to build monumental, illustrious buildings, and that is exactly the path that he has followed to this day, with Trump Tower being an iconic piece of architecture in New York City. Donald illustrates this lesson by talking about how in the 80s he was looking to build a hotel casino on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Once he secured the rights to the land, instead of getting greedy and building immediately, he took the time to make sure that he got a gaming license to build a casino on that land. He lost time waiting to hear back, but it saved him an immense amount of money and headache. In contrast, Baron Hilton, another distinguished hotel maker, got greedy and began construction while simultaneously filing for the gaming license. In the end, as I'm sure you all guessed, he didn't get the license. He pulled $400 million into constructing something that he couldn't legally construct. Baron Hilton ended up selling it to Donald for pennies on the dollar on the location that is now known as Trump's Castle. By taking care of the downside and waiting to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on something that isn't promised, Donald saved himself from the disaster that Baron chose not to evade. If Donald did not get the license that he needed in order to build Trump Tower, he still had several options as to what he could do with the land. As he states in the book, if those plans fell through, he could have built a successful office building. If the Atlantic City plans fell through, he could have sold the land to another casino builder at a profit. This is the key factor to the success of Donald Trump, because he who approaches a situation with only one option has a 50-50 chance of it backfiring. By having several different ideas of what to do with the land that he buys up, he immensely mitigates the risk by keeping his options open. Donald says that when he is interested in building something in a new area, he likes to survey the people himself. He doesn't like to rely on marketing information, he likes to get a hands-on approach on the area. So we asked the opinions of people who live nearby about the schools, crime, shopping, stuff like that. If it is in a different city, he will take a cab and ask the driver relentless questions until he gets a feeling for the area, and then he draws his conclusion. When Trump bought the West Side rail yards, he developed the land and named it Television City. He did this with the sole purpose of making a point, and that's that New York City very much wanted more than anything to keep the television networks inside New York. NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN, etc., etc. If any of those networks moved outside of New York, or even worse to New Jersey, it would be a disaster. When Donald built Trump Tower, he knew there was a prime location. But Donald decided to take it even a step further and market Trump Tower as something larger than life. Donald cultivated a certain aura for Trump Tower that other skyscrapers in New York didn't match. That is why when you think of New York, Trump Tower is one of the first landmarks that comes to mind, and Museum Tower doesn't. As I've said many times before, content is king, but marketing is queen and therefore rules the household. Donald knows this, so harking back to the last lesson, even though he built an amazing architectural feat such as Trump Tower, if he didn't market it with such mystique, it would have been easily forgotten. Trump relates this lesson to the 1980 election of Jimmy Carter against Ronald Reagan. After losing by a landslide, Jimmy came to Trump and asked for a donation to the Jimmy Carter Library. Trump asked him how much he was looking for, and Jimmy boldly stated that he would be very appreciative if Donald donated $5 million. Donald said that he was left dumbfounded that Jimmy had the balls, but then he realized how Jimmy got to be the president for a time. Jimmy had the balls to ask for something extraordinary with a straight face, whereas most people would ask for something more conservative if they knew they were going to say no. However, Jimmy didn't deliver the goods, and that's what resulted in a disastrous re-election campaign. This kind of goes with the adage that he who knows the value of a penny knows the value of a dollar. Even today, where the penny is so worthless that people try to petition it to get it removed from the United States legal tender, Donald still knows the value of a penny. In multi-million-dollar deals, if Donald thinks that a contractor is overcharging him, even if it's only $5,000 out of $100 million, he'll get on the phone and get that price dropped. Donald says that people ask him why he even bothers making such a commotion over a few bucks. I mean, $5,000 is only 0.005% of $100 million. But Donald just replies that the day he can't make a 25-cent call to save $5,000 is the day he closes up shop. Donald understands that no amount of money or success is going to change the fact that it could all be taken away in the blink of an eye. So in a very realistic approach, Donald emphasizes that always keep in mind that you should be doing it for the love of it, and not to worry about the little details of every missed opportunity or mistake. In conclusion, Donald offers some excellent advice in his 1987 book, The Art of the Deal. Think big, protect the downside, maximize your options, know your market, use your leverage, enhance your location, get the word out, contain the costs, and more than anything, have fun. All of these lessons are excellent in application not only to business, but life itself, and have many different interpretations to further elaborate on these concepts in both areas. Thank you everybody for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed it, and I guess I'll catch you next time, huh?